Damn. It's time. It's time. You know, before I actually leave this game, I think it's time to do this. And I'm pretty sure it's most definitely time to do it. Right, Ignis? Oh, what is this? Guidebook? Have they updated the guidebook? Let's see. No, it doesn't appear to be that way. What is the other one? It's another guidebook. Let's see. Click PC, download. Oh, finally loaded. And nothing. Well, you know what this means, Ignis, right?
面白い
Indeed. This means it is time. It's time for me to create the PvP guide for this game before I leave this game forever. What do you think?
面白い
Indeed, Ignis. But before so, we have to establish 3 things. One is that this is all being done via phone. No emulation, no controllers, all touchscreen. Second is that everything we're going to be discussing, Ignis, is all about universal text. So we're not going to go in depth with specific characters. Alright?
見ろ
I don't know what that means. Lastly, everything that is going to be discussed is basically going to be relating towards the old meta. Not necessarily anything new, where it's EX fighters, MBS, and SS. So, there's nothing one shot, there's none of that mumbo jumbo reset stuff. Some characters do, but not all. Anywho, let's discuss about PvP. What is PvP? Similarly to the gameplay being demonstrated, PvP is a player versus player matchup where you, the player, have to defeat your opponent in a 3v3 scenario using your units versus his units. You can defeat your opponent by either KOing them or by timing them out. Essentially, your whole objective is just to win, regardless of the cost, but not by hacking. There are 2 modes in where the player can discover PvP, one of them being Championship and the other being Friendly Match. Championship comes with different rule sets and each rule set is different by the week. Essentially, your whole objective is to play ranked matches and climb through the ranks to be the number 1 in this game mode. Friendly Matches is essentially the game mode where you can just create a lobby and play matches online, publicly or privately. And the matches all follow the CS or Championship format where they ban 3 of your characters and you get to play the other 3 and play for fun, essentially. However, it is important to note that whoever made the arena can make any adjustment for the battlefield. So it is important to keep an eye at the bottom tab. Also, a little disclaimer ahead of time too. For the sake of this PvP concept guide and advanced text, we will not be taking into consideration battle card and stone. Okay, well, how do I play the game? You may be questioning yourself. Well, it's fairly easy. Let's start with the basics. Holding the stick forward or back will give us some moving animation. Either it will be a walking backwards or a running animation. The blue button, block, makes it so that you, the player, receive less damage. Meanwhile, the purple one, evade or roll, makes it so that you can evade enemy attacks. You can go forwards or backwards, and it's up to your decision, but be careful not to spam it. In addition, every character comes with 3 brutal damage down skills, such as skill 1, skill 2, and their own skill 3, which all have their own unique attributes. When your skill cooldown is pretty high, you might want to rely on some basic attacks. which is your jab button. Doing so would allow the player to bring the enemy in a launch state by doing a serious amount of strings. Some can be really slow and really escapable, such as calling those basic attacks. Some basic attacks even just include something simple and gimmicky like grab. And some can be quick with some sort of damage over time, like Hamaru, or lack the range in doing so in the first initial hits. Thus makes basic attacks crucial to gameplay. However, you gotta be careful in using the skills and basic attack, because one wrong move can potentially cost you the whole game, as shown here. The purple button, or the awakening button, is rather a burst option that cannot allow the enemy to back off if you keep on getting hit, or the player to deal much more damage. Here is a small concept combo to give you an idea.
Great.
To gain meter in order to do flash moves, you have to hurt your enemy, and you can do so by either hitting them or hitting them while they guard. This is one of those flash moves. However, not all flashy moves use 3 bars of meter. Some characters have the ability to switch between 3 meter flashy moves and 5 meter flashy moves. And also, characters that are like each other can also swap between them without any consequences. To identify if a card is a 3 meter card or a 5 meter card, we look at the little circle dot with the color on it. Green meaning 5 meter and red meaning 3 meter. In addition, it is also important to know that some of these cards can be acquired through in-game story modes or through the gacha system built in the game. To add on, the flash move is in the PvP community considered a 5PG or 3PG move, and knowing this knowledge now of which card is which, you now can call them that too. And it appears Ignis has become much more godlier and powerful than he previously was. And it's probably all thanks to those PvP advanced techniques that we're gonna be talking now instead of the tutorial that was just covered. Jab Infinite is a series of strings done by pressing jab and then holding forward and blocking immediately, and rinse and repeating the same action over and over again. Doing so will give you a big advantage against the opponent if they're in the air. The same motion can be performed while the opponent is grounded. However, you can get punished easily, so do be careful. Speaking of jab, you can also delay your jab, which might give you a potential boost against your opponent. You can do so by jabbing first and then holding back and then immediately let go and rinse and repeat. Delaying your jab may be used as a mix-up tool to pressure your opponent and force them to make a move. Like so. Some characters, like Mukai, who have enormous hit stun, can take advantage of this and roll immediately after another hit to send the opponent into a launch state. Here is an example. Although it is good to do this, it can lead you into very situational conditions and possibly cause you to kill, such as the gameplay being shown. That being said, be careful on using this tactic. When launched in the air, it is important to know whether to roll forward or back, for the next move can be crucial to either you or your opponent. In this case scenario, rolling backwards is much more better and safer than rolling forwards, where it leads the player to a nice punish towards the opponent. Meanwhile, if the player were to be grounded, it would be better and safer if the player rolled forward instead of back to counterattack the enemy for throwing out a random move. You can also not touch your movement stick at all and you'll do a normal get up attack. However, this is very situational and it's more of a character dependent thing due to their hitbox, such as shown here. Lastly, there is one more get up option, and that is to hold your stick back. Doing so would allow the player to slither away from the enemy, creating some space for both players. As previously mentioned, every character has the ability to do an ultimate move or a quick finisher, and has the ability to cancel them. You can either do this by blocking or rolling. Some grabs being totally useless, and others being completely avoidable by either rolling or just simply spacing out correctly. Other grabs are very lethal and can potentially cost you the whole game if you get grabbed them, so do be aware. OTD is rather a technique that isn't seen a lot in this game because not a lot of characters have it. However, those that do successfully benefit in a lot of ways. Hitboxes and weight go hand in hand in this game, for some of them can be very janky and will not infinite the character. Meanwhile, others can infinitely just combo the character forever in the air, leaving them invulnerable to getting down at all, and just kill them slowly and steadily. Meanwhile, others are just simply too heavy and they have very small hitboxes, so they cannot be comboed at all or infinitely kept in the air. So at that point, it is up to the opponent or the player to decide how or what technique will they need to use to get rid of the enemy. Thus, with this knowledge in mind, combos can be quite irritating and not all the same against certain opponents. Combo enders, as the name suggests, is essentially just doing a combo with a strong move that will kill the enemy or deal a massive amount of damage. Meanwhile, combo mixer is essentially doing a skill or an attack that will allow the enemy to dodge and then proceed to do a devastating blow. Knowing the difference between both of them can lead to very interesting situations for the player and the enemy itself. Doing combos is great and all, but allowing the enemy to go back into standing animation via a skill is terribly bad. These skills are known as Dropdown Skills. To counter this, the player or the enemy can use a skill known as an interrupt skill. Note, not every character has an interrupt skill, but those that do are very beneficial in combat. However, the player using interrupt skills has to also be careful, because if read carefully, then they can also lose the game. Skill locking is the ability to deal a lot of damage towards the enemy by utilizing your projectile skills and core animation, or 3PG or 5PG. Doing so can make even the most weakest of projectile characters look really strong. Thus, mastering this tech will make Merlin look much more menacing than she initially was. Currently, there's only two ways to escape finisher, and that is roll before a finisher activates, or during a finisher, press the awaken button and roll when you feel is the best time possible. This can also be done on card finishers. With this last one, it's going to be slowed down so it can be easier on the eyes. But essentially, if you remember how to do a basic infinite, it is the exact same concept, just that instead of pressing jab, you will be pressing block. Doing so gives perfect block. It's a hard technique to master on its own, but on normal speed, this is what it looks like. Before I conclude this video was only meant for the purpose of enhancing a skill or learning a new technique. I didn't discuss much more in depth about every single technique, such as damage on a super armor and hyper armor and the importance of those, or how some skills are much better than others, simply because not every character has the same unique ability. Thus, I just wanted to keep it towards something universal. In addition to that, I also didn't want to make this video long because, to be fair, nobody likes watching long videos. That being said, I also wanted the viewers to understand this as much as possible through gameplay. And, well, that's as much as I did, honestly, on its own. And as pretty much as most as I'm going to cover for this tutorial. In addition to that, I also like to thank the people at Dojima Fam and the Temple Guild for telling me to make this on its own, and in addition to some of the top PvP players and just people all around in the whole KOFAS community to tell me, hey, make a guide for me, please, because I don't know how to use anything in KOFAS. And well, here it is. Hopefully it helps, and yeah. But besides the whole community and the whole thing, I also wanted to take a moment and make this video to also reflect on the developing of PvP, for it has lately been growing and developing into something much more bigger than it was before. For instance, there's a brand new mode that is called Tree Match, which looks like that. Essentially, that mode is a CS format but instead of 6 characters, you choose 3 off the get-go, and those 3 characters are the units that you'll be using against your opponent on a 3v3 scenario. And if not, it's probably the most balanced game mode when it comes to PvP in all of KOFAS. In addition to this, I also wanted to talk about PvP World because the developers themselves have brought back the most, if not pretty balanced week of the game overall, which is known as Golden Week. And through the list, seeing all the top players and whatnot, I've noticed a lot of old faces and a lot of new faces, and World just wanted to make something for both players, for those that want to play it again and those that are new. Essentially, I just want to create something for everyone and yeah, to have fun. And even then, I got involved with the CS rerun of Golden Week, as seen right there, and I had fun. And I'm not gonna lie, it brought me back some good old memories of playing this game to the fullest, and pretty much just no lifing it. But yeah, in addition to all of this, the last thing was that not only was the community and the devs doing something, but a popular King of Fighter All-Star YouTuber by the name of Forgo Nation also created his own tournament for both all sorts of regions, in which, well, they did PvP, and it was all originals, and he's going to do much more content if he gets much more attention, which brought my eyes into light and said, hey, maybe this game may have a second chance. But it's so slim and it's so minimal that it needs a lot of help and a lot of support from everyone in the community. And being said, this is my help and this is as much as I will do for this game. And with that being said, this is my short, if not probably the smallest guide for this game. I could probably do another guide and whatnot and talk about more about this game, but in reality, it's very slim and very minimal for pretty much the new meta. It's all one shot, and it's all like that in the gameplay. You, the skilled player, versus a character that is all strong and whatnot. It isn't really fun, and it's not just from my perspective, but I think a lot of players can also agree that the meta isn't just the best as it is, or it used to be. And yeah, that's that. Hopefully it gets better. Very slim chances. I mean, they already gave up on network connection, so what is there to do? And yeah, save PvP, save CS. Who knows? What knows? All I know is that my buddy here, Ignis, got swole because of them tips. I see. I appreciate the love, Ignis. I really do. But anywho, if you did enjoy this PvP Ultimate tutorial, please leave a like, comment, and if you want to, subscribe. And have fun with PvP.